This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Well, I don't know. Everyone has a podcast now.
Well, not really. What is true is that, according to Nielsen statistics, 55% of the U.S. population, that's over 155 million people, have listened to a podcast, and 24% of the population, that's 68 million people, listen to podcasts weekly. And these numbers continue to trend upward.
What's also true is that over 75% of all podcasts fade away after the first few episodes. It could be for a variety of reasons: lack of strong concept, poor production value, people not realizing how much time needs to be dedicated to it, or simply just not knowing how to get the word out about podcasts. That's where WeKnowPodcasting.com comes in.
At WeKnowPodcasting.com, we have a combined 25 years of podcast experience, and we can help you achieve your podcasting goals. Whether you need help starting a new podcast or want to take your currently active podcast to the next level, we got you. From consultations to concept development, from theme music to editing, promotion, animation, graphics, you name it, and we're here to help.
Don't become another failed podcast statistic. Let us guide you and help your show become a success. Check out the website at WeKnowPodcasting.com, and even if you're on the fence, don't hesitate to reach out. We're friendly guys, we're passionate about pods, and we're here to help.
There's a party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and everybody's gonna spread the holiday cheer.
Hey, Dylan.
Sup, Matt?
So, this was really when we came up with the idea that we were going to do Musical Month.
Yeah.
This was one that you brought up pretty much instantaneously. You're like, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, so Anna and the Apocalypse, it came across my radar a couple years back. I knew it was making the rounds at like Fantastic Fest and the different festival circuits. Actually, it really came into mind when Chris Tansky of Fright Rags was posting about it on Facebook like last year. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to check this out. It hit Amazon Prime. And finally, I sat down and watched it. And I knew that since I was getting back on stage and I think we just started talking musicals, you were like, well, let's do that. Let's do a musical month. And I'm like, Out of the Apocalypse, #1. But Matt Kelly, always needing his physical media, every week was like, we can't do it yet. The DVD has not come in.
I had already seen it.
Yes.
And I knew that I wanted it in my collection.
Okay.
So it was like, I'm not going to spend $4 to rent this on Amazon when I know that I want it in my DVD collection. I can buy the Blu-ray for $8.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me order this Blu-ray. Then there was the existential crisis of being terrified that I had accidentally ordered a Region 2 DVD because that's already happened to me once this year. So I was like, oh God. Like up until last night, putting it into the Blu-ray player, I was like, please.
You know, it's
please.
pretty mind-blowing to me that honestly, both of us, as physical media whores as we are, we don't own region-free Blu-ray players.
Yeah, I mean, they're not easy to come by still. Like, well, at this point, Blu-ray players in general are becoming less easy to come by.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's becoming a streaming whore.
But funny enough, I did something very similar this morning when I sat down to watch it and realized it wasn't on Amazon Prime anymore. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I can rent it for $5 or just have it on Amazon forever for $10. So I also ended up buying it digitally, and knowing me, I'll end up buying a physical copy of it.
Exactly.
So if one of us is the smarter one, it is you, because I will be double dipping.
Hey, Dylan.
Yeah.
You know what's another name that they could have given this musical?
Oh my God, go for it.
Dead Evan Hansen.
Dead Evan Hansen. Oh my God, dude.
This is in that vein of, if you've heard the music of Dear Evan Hansen, if you've heard the music of like High School Musical, the series, if you've heard the music of Be More Chill, there's definitely a push in modern musicals now that's almost more of a pop sensibility tied to the songs. And I feel like Dear Evan Hansen was definitely on the forefront of that becoming a very big mainstream movement in musicals. And in the Apocalypse, no different. These are very pop sense songs. Here's my hot take.
Okay, yes, you texted me, you said, I have a hot take incoming. And
All right,
I've been ready for
put
it.
on those oven mittens. Here
we
it comes.
go.
I think that this movie's great until it becomes a zombie movie.
100%. And I texted you that same thing as I was watching it. I said, I think your hot take is going to be very similar to my hot take for Sleepaway Camp, where my feelings on Sleepaway Camp is that if you take out all the horror aspects, that's still a great summer camp movie. And you know what? I am 100% with you. Even the songs are better before we get to the zombies.
And that, I think, is the problem, because, like, especially, we got to talk about the first two songs, Breakaway and Hollywood Ending.
Oh my God. Amazing, dude. They give me chills.
Yeah, they're real. Breakaway is an incredible song.
Yeah.
But like my problem, and I think the last song that I truly love, and I don't know if this is the name of the song or not, but Brand New Day, which is it's a Shaun of the Dead type scene where she's singing while just like mayhem is happening behind her, but she doesn't realize it's happened yet. And I think what my problem is that like these are just good songs, and then the zombie stuff happens, and it feels like they have to keep bringing up that zombies are around during so many of the songs that I'm like, these suddenly become dated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what I like about Dear Evan Hansen is that I don't have to be watching Dear Evan Hansen to enjoy Waving Out the Window or You Will Be Found.
Exactly.
And, like, I don't have to remember what Anna and the Apocalypse is about to enjoy Breakaway and Hollywood Ending and those songs. But then you get to like the Zombie Slayer songs or like all these other songs where it's like, man, it's really shoving it in my face right now that this is from a zombie movie. Like,
I mean, I'm with you 100% because I think those first two songs, and again, I'm going to have people disagree with me because I always do this, are songs that will end up on my Christmas playlist, even though they have nothing to do with Christmas, but because it relates to the movie that's set during the time. But everything else, I'm with you. I can't listen to outside of the movie
context
itself.
of the movie. Yeah. And I'll tell you, my least favorite song, I think, is actually the principal song, Nothing's Gonna Stop Me. It's not even that good of a song.
No, it's not.
The performance isn't that good. And I like, there's stuff that I like, and here's... The other element of it is also just like, as I'm sure you have, I mean, not even just horror fans, everybody, just I'm so burnt out on zombies.
Yeah.
I'm so over them. And I mean, this was fun. Like, I would put this as one of the better zombie movies in the last few years. I remember the first time I watched it, I was just like, this is great. And I loved it. Like unconditionally, which is why I was like, I need this in my DVD collection for sure. This is a blast. And we will see, because I'll probably rewatch it this December in my like Christmas watch, and maybe I'll hit a middle ground. But it definitely went from like, this movie's great to like, man, those first 20 minutes are good. So like, I'm hoping that I'll find like a happy medium where it's like, yeah, this is fun.
See, I was kind of the opposite. When I first watched it, I wanted to like it so bad, but didn't. Which is so funny because I was the one that was like, we need to watch this. But I remember loving the first 20 minutes. Yeah. And rewatching it this time, it was no exception. I absolutely adore the first 20 minutes. But I still have an appreciation for the rest of the movie because I get those first 20 minutes. Where the first time I watched it, I was like, all right, this is kind of dog shit. After the talent show, this movie kind of sucks. but after rewatching it this morning, I totally get it. I can see myself growing as a person because the first time I watched it, I was like very much like, well, Anna, go go be with what's his face. Screw Nick, he's the worst. And this time I'm like, like, I mean, Nick sucks, yeah, but I mean, just because the best friend has such a crush on Anna doesn't mean that Anna needs to be with him.
I remember both times watching this thinking that Anna was just going to fall for the girl.
Ooh, that would have been good.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Can I also state that Anna is my least favorite character? Kind of.
I could see that, but I will. So we'll throw a couple more compliments.
Okay.
real quick.
Yes.
First of all, I do think that they did a good job of making some likable high school kids in this movie. Because I do like the cast of main characters.
Yes.
Like, even when I'm like about the movie, I'm still watching it because I'm enjoying their characters and their interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And as opposed to last week's episode about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, I think that this one actually does a good job of landing the parental divide storyline
sure.
in a good emotional resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she like tearfully is just like, well, they're probably working on an antidote. And he's just like, it's too late. Like,
Yeah.
like it happens to like, it's like, oh, this girl's already lost her mom. There are parts that definitely work, but it is that first 20 minutes, you're just like, fuck yes, this movie is beating my expectations.
Dude.
And then you're like, okay, this is about my expectations.
Okay, so let's just talk about like the first few parts of this. We've got Breakaway, Hollywood
Yes.
ending. We haven't talked about when we get to the talent show and we get the fish wrap.
Yes. Oh, those two dudes dressed as penguins
Yeah.
just spitting about how they do it for the halibut.
Oh my god. And then MVP of the movie to me, Marley Sue, I think that's how you pronounce her name, as Lisa, getting up there and singing It's That Time of Year, freaking everyone out because all she wants for Christmas is to get laid.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely incredible.
And who can't relate? So Dylan, I want to throw. So here's a fun fact: Anna and the Apocalypse was something that I watched this week. It's the only thing I watched this week that was not Alf reruns. For the Geekscape YouTube channel, go and subscribe, youtube.com/Geekscape TV. I'm working on a script of the history of Alf. So I've been watching all 4 seasons, which I own on DVD, because of course I do, of Alf, and just kind of taking little notes on the character. And right before Anna and the Apocalypse, I watched the Alf Christmas special.
Okay.
We're going to talk about this one of these
I'm
days
sure
on
we
this
will,
show.
and I'm excited for it.
It is the strangest, arguably most depressing special I've ever seen. You remember how you were like, yo, Emmett Otter is just a depressing Christmas special? Let me tell you just a little bit about what happens in the Alf Christmas special. So the Alf Christmas special, Alf somehow finds his way into a children's hospital where a little girl mistakes Alf as a doll that Santa has left her. And he discovers that this little girl has leukemia and is going to die by the end of the year. So he decides to try to make sure that she has the best final Christmas ever. And then also, while that depressing subplot is happening, he also finds out that the guy coming to the hospital playing Santa lost his wife earlier that year and has every intention of killing himself at the end of the night. It is the most depressing thing I've ever watched in my entire life,
shit,
Dylan.
dude.
So what I'm saying is that when Breakaway started playing, it was a welcome breakaway from where my emotional state was at that exact moment.
It was a kick in the pants in terms of
I wanted that
positivity.
Hollywood ending. Like,
We don't really get it. I mean, we kind of get it, I guess, in this movie.
I mean, they very softly sing it towards the end. Like, it gets its reprise.
they do.
And in the Apocalypse, I do think follows like the traditional musical standpoint of it. Does have its reprises. It does have the I Want song. It has like all of those beats that have always been in musicals and then like really got co-opted hardcore into like the Disney musical.
Yeah.
So now like I think a lot of modern musicals try to push against that structure a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this is like that nice blend of it does have the modern pop musical sensibilities, but I think it still follows the traditional musical structure of really using the songs to highlight aspects of the characters in interesting ways.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't need to subvert expectations. Sometimes the best move you can make is doing what's expected. And I think, especially with the music, that's what they did here. I do like the fact that, I don't know if you're familiar with like the Dead Rising games.
I'm familiar with them, but I obviously haven't played them because I haven't played a video game that isn't in 16-bit in a very long time.
The fact that like the principal almost became like a final boss type character, like and kind of became almost more of the forefront at the end than the zombies themselves. It really reminded me of that.
I don't like the principal at all in this, and not in the sense of like
you're not supposed to like him, but
but like in the sense of like his character and motivations never make any fucking sense.
They
to
don't.
Me both times
they
that
really
I watched
don't.
it.
I just specifically like that ending portion. Now I also have problems with it. Anna's father is fighting the principal, and the principal gets real close to fucking cutting her father's throat. And Anna's just standing there with a giant fucking candy cane going, Dad, instead of, beating the shit out of the principal or anything else that could be happening.
So the principal reminds me in this of a similar concept, but much better execution. Have you ever watched Todd in the Book of Evil?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He reminds me of, but at least that character has like a whole backstory of like, was raised by Satanists.
Yeah.
And like his whole life is trying to like, has been waiting for this moment, for this Book of Evil to reveal itself.
Dude, I
has
need
been
to rewatch
ingrained in
that.
him.
Is there?
Dude, that show.
You think
there's two musical episodes, but I don't know if there's a Christmas episode.
Or I'm gonna find out.
But we can
after
find
we're
out.
done.
Yeah,
Oh,
I got the DVDs, so I'll rewatch those. I know it does have Jason Mewes in every episode as the school janitor.
It has Jason Mewes and I am an unapologetic Kevin Smith fan. But, sometimes when Jason Mewes doesn't have Kevin around to kind of rein him in, he's not the best.
But this is good. This is good Jason Mewes.
Yeah,
he knows how to deliver his lines. He does it all right.
He does.
I mean, final thoughts on Anna and the Apocalypse, Dead Evan Hansen. I think that I'll rewatch it this December. This is probably like a good like November 1st, November 2nd one, honestly. It like bridges that gap really well. But I definitely I felt my love of it dip a little bit, and I'm hoping that maybe it'll pop up and kind of find like a nice middle ground plateau on a third viewing.
Yeah, I can't disagree that the Anna and the Apocalypse is a fantastic 30-minute watch. And then I always find myself, or I had the last two times, once the zombies come out, I find myself on my phone and it kind of taking place in the background, because those first 30 minutes when we get as like all the way up to the talent show and them working at the bowling alley at the first point, all of that I think is great. The music is great, and everything after that is not bad, but it's mediocre. It's very mediocre.
And it's also, I mean, the other thing that's worth noting, because we are a Christmas podcast, is that the Christmas stuff really is just like in the background.
Yeah.
Like it's not much of a Christmas movie. So if you're sitting there like, man, they've been talking about this musical a lot, which is great for musical month, but like, how did this count as a Christmas 365? It does take place at Christmas time.
It takes place at Christmas time. The talent show, like I said, is all Christmas based. There's an amazing Christmas song by the character Lisa, and like I think the character John, Anna's best friend, wears the same Christmas sweater for 3 days straight, which I don't understand. Get a new sweater. But for the most part, there's not a lot of Christmas in this. But if you take the horror zombie elements out of it, I felt like we could have gotten a lot more Christmas, a lot more musical, and I think this would be just as loved by both of us as Let It Snow. Because like those opening portions and the character interactions remind me of that. And I'm like, this would be great if we just didn't do the whole zombie thing. But to be completely honest, I can't guarantee I would have watched this originally
Without the zombie
without
element.
the zombie
Yeah.
element.
I mean, yeah, deep down we wanted to let it snow, and instead we got to let it know.
You're just,
I'm on a
you
whole
are-
new level today.
You are, dude. You are leveling up with puns today. I love it.
Merry Christmas, Dylan.
Merry Christmas, Matt. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday, have a great holiday, have a merry happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.